Your integrity is immeasurable. After working with people for years on building their credit score and reducing their debt, and talking with people about all the numbers that they track in spreadsheets or that they use applications to track numbers, what comes to mind is that our humanity doesn't fit nicely and cleanly into a spreadsheet. And what's missing for people is the fact that they're trying to track something that's intangible, immeasurable, partially by creating numbers out of it, but also just by creating labels, by passing forms of judgment, by diagnosing their problem. They ask me, often, this is how the relationship starts, they want a diagnosis of their problem. They give me some story, and they say, what do I got to do? What's wrong with me? And after reflecting, I wanted to tell people that love can't be measured. The amount of dignity that they inherently have and the amount that other people love them could never be measured. We look for signs, for signals, for proxy. They said this, that means this. They behave in this way, this consistency, this often, this kind of thing. We're looking for proof for our own dignity, for love. Are we doing a good job? Are we ready for retirement? That can be measured a little easier, probably quite a bit more tangible. But there's something that never can fully translate when we talk about the intangibles. Your integrity is immeasurable. There are signs. There are symptoms. You can define success and fulfillment in terms of what you believe makes you an integrous person. You can know that you have integrity. It's a generalization. This often takes a fair amount of self-reflection. People may go to books, they may search things, they might talk with ChatGPT. Somehow we figure out how to make a decision around whether or not we have integrity, but ultimately it comes down to a sensing, a knowing. And I believe that sensing, that knowing, has some kind of a structure. That's a conversation for another time. That's partially why I've been fascinated by the writings and the practices of neurolinguistic programming for roughly 2 decades. I take some of it with a grain of salt. At least they try to answer that question. What's the structure of this subjective experience? Assuming it has one. Your integrity is immeasurable. It can't be measured by anybody. Not even you. You can find ways to validate it. Consider that. Make that the question. How would I know when I have integrity? Not do I have integrity, or why don't I have integrity? Because you can answer every one of those subjective questions. The way you frame the question directs your attention, right? And when you have that scope of focus, and you fill in that scope with categorical information. And so I encourage you to ask the question in a way that allows you to capture, to frame and capture the part of it that serves you in the highest way. Your integrity is immeasurable. How do you know? Please, I'd love to see your comments about this. Give me your thoughts on this. some of you might want to call bullshit. I know some people are having this response where they just want to shit on it. And I understand that. I am a rebellious critic also. Give me your thoughts on this. Let's create a dialogue around what that means. I also want to make sure that it's framed in such a way that this is clear about what I'm doing here, because as a coach, as a money coach, as a life coach, the framework is always about accountability. How do we track, measure meaningful progress along the lines of a goal? And what's the point of the goal in the first place? The goal is only important because of its subjective experience that's related to the goal. I want something intangible. The goal is good. The intangible experience is what I'm actually after. So sometimes we have to actually reframe what the goal is, what the actual tangible experience is, because we recognize that the tangible experience, in some cases, in many cases, doesn't actually bring the fulfillment that we would hope it does. So there's this dance. We set goals. We become the person that can accomplish those goals. And therein lies the self-esteem and fulfillment through the process of becoming who we need to become. And often enough, we buy the house, we get the credit score, we pay down the debt, maybe we manage the budget for long enough, and it's not fulfilling anymore, or it's not as fulfilling as we thought it would be. Usually, there's a moment of celebration, and I encourage you to take time for that. Be mindful of that moment. Be deliberate and intentional about that celebration. Give yourself moments along the way to celebrate, because life's short. And you never can tell what's going to happen, even when you do everything right. Your health is not entirely under your control. The actions of politicians is not under your control. The price of gas, right? All kinds of things that have an impact on your plan are not actually within your control. So we take time to celebrate along the way for your effort, not necessarily the achievement. And then, of course, when you have achievement, you want to grow. From that position, you resize, or you size yourself up. That's actually what control means. You're comparing the past to the present. And so, in terms of maintaining control, you actually crave growth. I'm here now. What else do I want? How much more can I have? If you do this intentionally, then it's not just greedy. There are many things that you can continue to grow and expand upon, which is beautiful. Like compassion, for instance. There's a lot of things. Your integrity is immeasurable. Think about it. I'd like it if you commented, give me a thumbs up, subscribe for more, share with a friend, all that stuff. Or don't. And if you decide not to, if you have an impulse to hate what I'm saying right now, your integrity is immeasurable, no matter which way you go. The point here is about accountability, right? That's what I'm saying. It's about personal responsibility. And there are many aspects of your personal history, your memories, your drives, your desires, your philosophy of life, some of which cannot be spoken, some of which you haven't taken time to make clear to yourself, and some of which is just a sensing, just a knowing. All these different aspects, some of which are totally unconscious to you, some of which you were born with, handed down from ancestors, some of which you decided upon consciously throughout your life. Some you're growing into, you decided recently to frame your own existence. Your integrity is immeasurable. How do you know? What makes this true for you? Where is that sensing? What's it like? Does it have a color? Now I'm getting a little abstract with some of these questions because, yeah, I'm actually referring to a noun form, aren't I? But it's not a noun that I can hold in my hand. It's intangible. But does it have a color? It's interesting what happens when we start to actually consider what the framework around it would be. If it were tangible, then what would it be? If I can sense it, is it dense? Is it cold? Is it warm? How big is it? Where is it at? It's interesting how your unconscious mind can map these things automatically. It's kind of the definition of unconscious, by the way. It's automatic. Your integrity is immeasurable. So I've been thinking about that, and I thought I'd share. Give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Subscribe for more. Thank you.